What's up, everyone? It is the latest Phillies Nation presented by BQ Basement Systems. We're in Center City, Philadelphia at the Fieldhouse Sports and Beer Hall. Corey Simon and Pat Gallen with you. And the man that we have been waiting to see basically this entire year and going back to last year, which we did see him at the end of the year. But Michael Franco, now here to stay. He is the third baseman of the future, and he debuted this weekend. So far, so good.
Michael Franco could have had 2 home runs on Sunday. He hit that triple to the deepest part of the park in left center field and then took Randall Delgado deep for his first major league home run later in the game. What I saw out of Franco in that Sunday afternoon game against the Diamondbacks was a quick swing. The ball just jumped off his bat. It wasn't that long, loopy swing that we saw last September or in each of the last 2 spring trainings. I'm seeing some positive signs, some actual development out of Michael Franco, who still the plate discipline is a little shaky, but the way that he shortened up the stroke and the fact that he's able to generate that much power with the shorter stroke, I think that bodes well for the future. And if he can stick in that 5-hole for the Phillies, be the right-handed power bat, we also saw him make a diving catch at third base on Sunday. He can be a well-rounded player, and that's exactly what the Phillies need at the corner infield spot.
I was just going to say that Cody Asche sent back to AAA to work on his left field, and the reason is because Michael Franco is the better third baseman. He's not elite, but he can be a pretty good guy, so he is a well-rounded individual.
Well, Michael Franco, I remember talking to him last year when the Phillies had him in before the season started. They had their group of prospects that they saw as pieces of the future. Ken Giles was also involved in that, but Franco said that the player he emulates is Adrian Beltre, who has been a great two-way third baseman, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer. But, you know, if Franco can be 65% of the player that Adrian Beltre has been throughout his career, defensively, offensively, the Phillies have got themselves a really good one. And, you know, the 5-game winning streak that they were on, beating the Pirates and the Diamondbacks, sweeping the D-backs, I think that a little bit of energy was gained by bringing Franco up. Not necessarily he was the key to it, but just infusing some young talent maybe gets the clubhouse going a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about that. With Cody Asche at AAA now, working on that left field, let's talk about the outfield situation because it's a little bit murky. There are a lot of bodies out there, not guys that may stick around long term, especially guys like Sizemore, Franco, they're out there. Then you've got Herrera, you've got Ruff, you've got Revere. Who's the odd man out? Because as we throw Domonic Brown's name into it, he might be back at some point this year as well.
I'm glad you mentioned Domonic Brown because he's the forgotten man in all of this. Everybody's talking about how Cody Asche went down to in left field and, you know, who's the moving piece when he comes back. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because we don't know how long Cody Asche is going to be down on the farm. Maybe it takes a month. Maybe they want to give him a lot of time to learn the position. There's no guarantee he's going to be back in 2 weeks. You got to remember the Phillies aren't playing for the playoffs now. If they were, maybe they bring Cody Asche and Domonic Brown up a little sooner. But you mentioned the veterans. So you have Franco and Sizemore as the veterans. You have Odubel Herrera and Ben Revere as the speedy guys you want at the top of the order. And then you also have Darren Ruff, Cody Asche, and Domonic Brown. I think what you're going to end up seeing when everybody comes back, a platoon in left field of Darren Ruff against lefties, Cody Asche against righties. I think you'll see Odubel Herrera in center field pretty much every day. And then in right field, I guess you go Ben Revere. I mean, you need to showcase a guy like Ben Revere because he might not be a long-term piece for this team, so you might want to trade him. I think he does have a little bit of value, led the National League in hits last year, but Franco and Sizemore would seem to be the odd men out because they're not going to be with this team for the next 4 or 5 years.
I was going to ask you, too, quickly about Revere and his trade value right now. Where does it stand?
Well, I think that Ben Revere, I said a few weeks ago on the show that I see him as a player who, on a non-competitive team, you only notice his weaknesses. But on a contending team, you're only going to notice his strengths. You're only going to notice the fact that he's getting on base for the middle of the order. And a good team is not going to have him in center field. They would have him probably in left. So I don't think you're going to get a top prospect back for Ben Revere, but if you can get a double-A pitcher, you know, look at what the Phillies got back from Marlon Bird.
Deal or one of those.
Right, the Phillies got back Ben Lively from Marlon Bird, who's been a key piece in that double-A Reading rotation. I think if you can get a similar player, continue to build that pitching depth on the farm, that will be an adequate return for Revere. But real quick with Domonic Brown, I just don't know if he's really in the Phillies' plans the rest of the year. I mean, you look at he still has no home runs through Sunday at Lehigh Valley.
It's not like he's hitting 350 at AAA. He's just not really doing much.
Hitting a little bit better lately, but just I think the defensive component too. The fact that he's not a strong defender in right field, that has to play a role too.
All right, the Phillies on a bit of a winning streak. They go through the Pirates last 2 of that series, and then they sweep the Diamondbacks over the weekend. So it's not all bad with this team. I mean, the Diamondbacks not the greatest team in the world, but they're winning games that they should win. So a 5-game win streak for the Phillies through Sunday. How did it happen?
Well, Ryan Howard, that's how it happened. I mean, not that Ryan Howard was the only person responsible for it, but you look at his last 23 games, the big piece, he's looked like the Ryan Howard of old. Over the last 23 games, hitting .268. He has an OPS over 900. He's slugging close to 600. 12 extra base hits and 16 RBIs in his last 85 at-bats. It's exactly what the Phillies need to be able to trade Ryan Howard, to get another team impressed by him, the power stroke. Their American League DHs are not having a strong year. I think Howard will be moved.
All right, and the pitching staff, let's not forget about them either because they are keeping the Phillies in a lot of these games. Now let's hear from Kevin Wilson, who you got a chance to meet up with, who talks about approaching certain counts. Here he is.
We're here at Everybody Hits at 6th and Girard. He's Kevin Wilson, Major League Baseball hitting consultant. And Kev, we've talked a little bit about the psychology of 2 strikes, of an 0-2 count, how hitters tend to have a lot less success when they have 2 strikes. The mentality of being at 0-2, do you think that plays a role in a player's performance when they're facing that count?
Oh, definitely, most definitely. It's the psychology part about it. It's what you tell yourself. You're always selling yourself on something. You got to buy what you sell yourself, so to speak. So we're talking about 2 strikes. I think a lot of guys get defeated. They feel like they have to battle. I think the term battle is almost a defensive, like you're in a bunker, so to speak, and you're trying to literally battle for your life. No, this is competing. It's mano a mano. It's like me and you in a boxing ring, and we're getting after it. It's that guy still has to throw a strike to get us out. So I feel like we can still be aggressive with 2 strikes, not swing at everything, but I'm still competing because the guy still has to throw a ball near the plate to get me out. And I think that allows us that aggressiveness, that confidence. We've all had it when we're going really good. We just don't understand how we had that. But I feel like the terminology and what we're selling ourselves is a huge part of that.
So Kev, last year we worked together a little bit, and one of the things you were showing me is I'm still trying to compete in the men's league at at 26 here, but you showed me that the looser the grip with the bat, the more bat control you're going to have. And so I fractured my thumb a couple games ago and batted later in that game, and I was able to foul 13 or 14 pitches off in 1 at bat, putting that into play. So spoiling pitches, how much is that a factor when you're dealing with an 0-2 or a 2-strike count?
That's huge. Again, let's think like a pitcher. That guy's in the age of pitch counts and not trying to get up there in the hundreds and 150 pitch count range. If you are having an at-bat and fouling off pitches, you have 11 or 12 pitch at-bat. I have an 8 or 9 pitch at-bat. All of a sudden, the numbers obviously add up. So for us, it's not so much being able to foul off a bunch of pitches to get a base hit. We also have to think about the pitcher. And we have to think about the game. We always talk about hitting to the scoreboard. If I'm in there and I'm battling and I'm able to foul pitches off, then I get his pitch count up, then all of a sudden he's coming out in the 5th inning, maybe not the 7th inning. I get to the bullpen early. First game in a 3 or 4 game series, all of a sudden the bullpen is taxed. By the 3rd game, we've got the series, pretty much, if we're doing our job. So I think a lot of it, understanding how to foul pitches off is crucial, not so much to getting a base hit, but getting that pitch count up.
Truly is a game within a game being up at the plate. He's Kevin Wilson, Major League Baseball hitting consultant. You can find more of his stuff at kwbaseball.com. Listen to that podcast. Phillies Nation is presented by BQ Basement Systems, the Philadelphia region's premier basement contractor.
Our customers tell us it's important that they know who they're doing business with. Basement foundation issues are never fun, and finding a contractor that you can trust can be hard. That's why I founded BQ Basement Systems in 1997. We're the experts in identifying and fixing problems in your basement, your crawl space, foundation repairs, and all things basementing. Have one of our certified inspectors out for your free evaluation and estimate. Visit us at bqbasementsystems.com or call us at 1-800-339-2070.
If you're a sports fan, you need to check out Sports Vault. Our stores will surround you with a great selection of autographed memorabilia, licensed apparel, trading cards, and novelties. Want to meet your favorite local and national superstars? Sports Vault brings the legends to you with dozens of in-store appearances. Check out any of our 3 locations in King of Prussia, Exton, or Moorestown. Or visit sportsvaultshop.com and use the code Phillies Nation to save 20% on your next order of autographed merchandise.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Philly has a long sports history filled with great players and moments. Shibe Vintage Sports in Center City relives the glory years with fashionable attire for all your favorite teams. Separate yourself from the crowd with the hippest Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers gear. Pick up some unique shirts featuring local teams of yesteryear, or come to fun events where you can learn about your favorite teams. So if you're a sports fan, then you need to check out Shibe Vintage Sports. Visit them at 13th and Walnut or shibesports.com.
We are back here on Phillies Nation, presented by BQ Basement Systems. Rachel McCauley caught up with Steve Degler. He's one of the broadcasters of the Lehigh Valley IronPigs, and this was just before Michael Franco was recalled by the Phils.
And while Franco's up with a big club now, there are still some intriguing players at AAA, guys who used to be top prospects: Phillipe Aumont, Adam Morgan, Tommy Joseph. Here's Rachel.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Steve Degler from the Lehigh Valley IronPigs broadcasting team. Thanks, Steve, so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Wanted to talk a couple questions about the IronPigs and how they're doing so far this season. And we'll start with Michael Franco. How's he look so far? He struggled last April at the plate, but now he's done a lot better this year.
He looks great. What a change from a season ago. April, he was well under 200, really struggled, cold weather, trying to do too much, not getting in favorable hitting counts. This year, he is off to a great start, hitting over 300, leading the league in doubles, and he continues to play a very good third base. If he gets to it, he catches it, and if he catches it, he throws guys out, because that arm is unbelievable from third base.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next about his defense and how he's looked at third. Do you think he's the guy for the future at third base?
I think he is. I mean, he's not a guy that has great range. He's a little slow of foot, but when he gets going, he can move a little bit, and what he gets to, his hands are very, very soft. The other week, he threw a guy out while sitting on his rear end. He made the stop, spun over, and from a sitting position, threw the ball across the diamond on the fly and got the guy by plenty.
Yeah, it's one of the Phillies' best prospects. They're really counting on him to do good in the big leagues.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy to really watch as he gets his feet wet and becomes comfortable at the major league level. I think last September, the same thing. He tried to do a little too much, tried to impress everybody. When he's calm and relaxed like he is right now, he can do some damage with the bat.
Tommy Joseph they were kind of hoping he was going to be the catcher of the future, but he's struggled coming back from a concussion. How has he looked so far this season?
He has really struggled offensively. He's striking out quite a bit. He's not making enough contact, hitting under 200. What's been good is his defense. He is among the league leaders in throwing out base stealers in the International League, right around 50%. So he's done a really good job handling the pitching staff. A couple of years ago, when the concussions first cropped up, he was having a tough time just catching the ball behind the plate. That has not been an issue. Now the hope is that his bat will be able to catch up to where it was a couple of years ago.
It's when he was up at Citizens Bank Park, Phillipe Aumont was not so good, but they've converted him to a starter. How has he looked in the starting role?
He's looked very good. I think he's comfortable, for one. He wants to start. The second thing is, I think when he realized this spring when he was taken off the 40-man roster and nobody claimed him on waivers, that it was time to go out there and do some things. And I think he's done that by relaxing. He's taken a lot of pressure off himself. He's not trying to make the perfect pitch every time. And as a result, he's been able to get stretched out and throw multiple innings, and now gets himself in the starting rotation. He still walks probably too many guys for the Phillies' liking, but it's better than it was. He's getting a lot of movement on the fastball. The curveball has been very good, and he just seems like he's out there having a lot more fun. He's in great shape. He's lost about 20 pounds, so he's a guy that really, I think, has done a much better job going in the starting rotation with the pressure off, and we'll see where that leads to him for the rest of the season.
Adam Morgan, he's coming back from injury also. How has he looked to you so far? Have the IronPigs been kind of satisfied with his performance or a little disappointed?
I think he looks like a guy coming off a missed season, and he was really on the fast track a couple of years ago until the shoulder injury popped up, and now it's a matter of getting the feeling back out there in competition. Fastball's been fine. Changeup is a pitch that maybe he needs to fine-tune a little bit, but it's the off-speed stuff, the breaking ball, that you really want to see him be able to throw with confidence and conviction coming off the shoulder injury. He's a guy that I think it's going to take a little time, maybe a month or two, to really get comfortable and to realize, hey, I'm fine here, the shoulder's okay, it's surgically repaired, I'm not going to do any more damage to it. And I think when he does, he's going to really take off, because he has fantastic stuff. It's a matter of his confidence getting back to where it was a couple of years ago, and he can certainly be an option somewhere down the road.
Who's been the most impressive IronPig so far that might have gone under the radar that Phillies fans might not know about?
It's really interesting because it's not really a younger guy to me. It's a 6-year free agent in Brian Bogusevic, who spent a lot of time with the Astros, came up as a pitcher, was converted to an outfielder. He has had 2 long hitting streaks already this year, hitting well over 300. He can steal a base for you. He can play all 3 outfield positions. So while he's not a spring chicken by any stretch of the imagination, if the Phillies are looking for a guy to maybe bolster things off the bench, a guy that's very versatile, he's somebody that could come up and stabilize things for them somewhere along the line this year. He's off to a fantastic start, and we'll hopefully see if he can keep it up throughout the rest of the year.
All right. Well, certainly be interesting to see how things pan out. When we come back on Phillies Nation, we'll head back to the field house with Pat and Corey when we return.
Live sports. craft beer, great food, good times. What more do you need? Every day is a party at Fieldhouse Sports and Beer Hall, the largest sports bar in Center City. Come to 11th and Filbert to see what you've been missing.
The biggest problem with your phone is not a low battery or no signal. It's about what it does to your posture. Hi, I'm Dr. Lenny Roberts from Summit Spine and Wellness. For well over a decade, we've been helping the greater Philadelphia region reach their health goals. This is the most common posture problem that I see, but you have no idea about the long-term neck and back issues you can suffer from if you don't correct your text neck. You don't have to live like this. We can correct your posture. Your initial consultation is free. Call Summit Spine and Wellness now at 215-487-2500.
Our customers tell us it's important that they know who they're doing business with. Basement foundation issues are never fun, and finding a contractor that you can trust can be hard. That's why I founded BQ Basement Systems in 1997. We're the experts in identifying and fixing problems in your basement, your crawl space, foundation repairs, and all things basementing. Have one of our certified inspectors out for your free evaluation and estimate. Visit us at bqbasementsystems.com or call us at 1-800-339-2070.
Philly has a long sports history filled with great players and moments. Shibe Vintage Sports in Center City relives the glory years with fashionable attire for all your favorite teams. Separate yourself from the crowd with the hippest Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers gear. Pick up some unique shirts featuring local teams of yesteryear, or come to fun events where you can learn about your favorite teams. So if you're a sports fan, then you need to check out Shibe Vintage Sports. Visit them at 13th and Walnut or shibesports.com.
Phillies Nation is sponsored by Shibe Vintage Sports. Check out their new Stadium Series line of shirts at 13th and Walnut in Center City or shibesports.com.
Lefty pitcher Adam Morgan was a fast-rising prospect after being drafted by the Phils in the third round of the 2011 MLB draft. That ascension was curtailed by a shoulder injury that required surgery and forced Morgan to miss the entire 2014 campaign. And his pitching coach believes his injury was caused by his mechanics.
Bad mechanics can hurt you over a period of time. If you're throwing a lot, it's going to take its toll. It's just a matter of time. And being able to free up his delivery through the mechanics of how he's throwing the ball allowed him to take a lot of stress off the upper body. And using his lower half has been a big key for him.
After working hard in pitching in the Arizona Fall League, the University of Alabama product knows the improvements that are necessary to stay healthy and on the mound this season for the AAA IronPigs.
Came out of instructional league and was feeling good. I knew that it was going to take a couple innings, a couple games to get everything going back to normal. And when I left Arizona, working with Ray and working with all those guys out there, they got me ready. And the competition out there is unbelievable. Before I got out there, it wasn't really supposed to be result-oriented. So health-wise, everything went great and got me ready for spring training. Mechanics-wise, definitely using my legs a lot more, emphasizing on my legs a lot, and working on the front side, not flying open so much. Throwing across my body seemed to be the biggest problem that I had. I can definitely tell, when I throw a bad ball, I'm cutting myself off. I'll feel it in there, no pain, but it's just totally different.
Morgan says bonding with other rehabbing Phillies like catcher Tommy Joseph and pitcher John Pettibone helped him get through the mental hurdles of the rehab process last year.
Tommy's my good friend, roommate. Pettibone was down there. They're all good group of guys, and I think that was very, very crucial to have a good group of guys with the right head on their shoulders. It's good to have everybody there that you can trust that's going to pick you up, and that's basically what happened.
Now, completely healthy, the 6'1", 195-pounder isn't concerned with any possible setbacks and has his mind set on helping his team win each time out.
Not get ahead of myself, focus on, taking the ball every 5 days and not worrying about pitch count or anything like that. If I take the ball every 5 days, go out there like I'm going to throw 9 innings, wait until the coaches take me off, then I feel like everything will be all right.
Morgan picked up a win with the Phillies this spring and took a lot from his time with the big club, picking up lessons from an established star.
I was picking Cole Hamels' brain about, his curveball, because my curveball is something that I've been trying to get better, trying to get it sharper over the years, and I just picked his brain about it, and it seemed to be very, very helpful.
Known for his solid 4-pitch repertoire, Morgan according to Coach Ray Burris, won't have success based on his stuff. It'll be the intangibles that help the 25-year-old reach the top level of this sport.
His joy in playing the game, his joy in competing, his joy in putting that uniform on and going out to the mound and getting hitters out. That's a different breed right there. And he has the it factor, as we call it in this profession. He knows what he's got to do when he goes across that white line.
At Coca-Cola Park in Allentown, I'm Jay Floyd for Phillies Nation.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Jay. And some big news for our own Jay Floyd as well.
Yeah, Jay Floyd and his wife, they're having a top prospect of their own. They're expecting a boy very soon.
Very good. Congratulations to Jay and his wife, Nikki. And let's go back to part 2 of the interview with Rachel and Steve Degler.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Steve Degler from the Lehigh Valley IronPigs broadcasting team. Thanks, Steve, so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
With how the Phillies have struggled of late and they're kind of in this rebuilding mode, do you think the guys in the minor leagues have noticed, have felt that there's more eyes on them this year maybe than in years past?
I think definitely, especially in Reading at the AA level where there's been so much focus on the 5 starters in that rotation. And then the Phillies also bring up a reliever in Elvis Araujo from AA. So guys know that they're a phone call away right now, whether it's with the Phillies or the other thing to keep in mind is the other 29 organizations in baseball are looking for help as well. So you're out there trying to impress somebody every single day. But I think these guys know that with the team in a rebuilding mode, there is going to be opportunity out there, and it's up to them individually to try and seize upon that and get their chance here in Philadelphia.
For fans that might be heading up to Lehigh Valley to check out the IronPigs, what's the most exciting thing that they can look forward to seeing out of them?
As the year goes on, there's a chance that a guy like Aaron Nola could come from Reading. He may bypass Lehigh Valley altogether and come right here to Philadelphia. That's always a possibility. But if Aaron Nola gets to Lehigh Valley, he is legit. He is a very good young pitcher. And some of those other young guys on the Reading staff maybe make their way to Lehigh Valley at some point this season. So I think the progression of the guys that are in AA right now to see if they can get to AAA later this summer and what they can do once they get there.
Tell me about what the fan experience is like at Coca-Cola Park. You know, they have the whole bacon campaign and, you know, it looks really exciting from afar, but what's the fan experience like there?
I personally stay away from the bacon, but I do like it, but I don't really partake in the whole bacon thing out there.
The smell must be tough if you smell it everywhere.
It's a great campaign, there's no question about it. Wonderful ballpark, 360 walk around, which is a cool thing for the fans. You can watch the game from so many different angles. They added new seats in front of the left field fence this year, the pig pen. You're literally on the old field where the warning track used to be in left field. They moved the fences in 13 feet. Now there's seats in there right in front of the bullpen, so you can look behind you and see guys warming up. You can look in front of you and watch the game from very close. They've got the suites upstairs. They've got a couple of party patios up on the upper deck as well. Great food with the bacon theme, no question about it. Just a wonderful experience, and like a lot of minor league ballparks, you're really close to the action. And if you're in the dugout suites behind home plate, you're actually closer to the plate than the pitcher is. So there's a lot of really cool vantage points out there, and it's a great place to come and watch a game.
What's it like being a broadcaster in the minor leagues? You really have to be on top of your game and know who's coming up and who's coming in and out since there's so many moving parts.
It's a challenge with doing games in Lehigh Valley and another 27 in Reading. I really have to watch everything from Clearwater to Philadelphia to see what's going on, who's playing well in the Florida State League, and if he gets called up, what he's been doing and what he's all about. And the same thing between Reading and Lehigh Valley, because they're only 35 miles apart. They can move guys pretty frequently, and you have to be able to know what's going on in both those places as well. And then obviously in Philadelphia, you want to keep an eye as to what's happening there, if guys get hurt, maybe who gets called up. So it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. You really get to know what's happening in the organization and who the guys are to watch.
All right, well, thank you, Steve, so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And when we come back, we'll head back to the field house for more with Pat and Corey.
Behold, we are in the presence of champions. Fantasy sports legends who have earned hundreds of thousands of dollars playing online. Meet Arlie Gonzalez. Average guy, superior sports knowledge. Picked a team in minutes and won enough to throw the party of a lifetime. In outer space. Former accountant Derek Bradley. DraftKings One Day Fantasy Baseball took him from a guy with holes in his underpants to a guy with bikini models in them.
How do we turn our love of fantasy sports into reality cash?
DraftKings.com. They have one-day games, so you're not locked in. It's like a new season every time you play. And best of all, you could win a shipload of money.
Start playing today for your share of $1 billion. Use promo code PITCH and get free entry in our 100K baseball contest on opening day. More sports, more winners, more millionaires. Get to DraftKings.com now.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Our customers tell us it's important that they know who they're doing business with. Basement foundation issues are never fun, and finding a contractor that you can trust can be hard. That's why I founded BQ Basement Systems in 1997. We're the experts in identifying and fixing problems in your basement, your crawl space, foundation repairs, and all things basementing. Have one of our certified inspectors out for your free evaluation and estimate. Visit us at bqbasementsystems.com or call us at 1-800-339-2070.
Welcome back. It's Phillies Nation presented by BQ Basement Systems. Let's get into our fantasy baseball picks from last week, and we'll give them for this week, and it's brought to you by DraftKings.com. You can play for free at DraftKings.com by entering the promo code PHIL. So Rachel, she's not with us this week, but she picked Bryce Harper and A.J. Burnett. Two pretty good choices.
Yeah, I said last week that it doesn't matter what Bryce Harper costs right now, you are taking him in DraftKings. He scored 10 runs last week in 7 games, which is pretty incredible. I went with Jimmy Nelson, the Milwaukee Brewers pitcher, kind of struggled. Anthony Ghost, the former Phillies farmhand, had a good week, hitting .391 for the Tigers, scored 4 runs, slugged over .600. I'd keep him in the mix going forward. A lot of steals, a lot of runs scored. How about you?
I went with Noah Syndergaard. Told you to pick him up. Not like that was a crazy off-the-wall thing to do, but he pitched pretty well in his debut, pitched even better on Sunday against the Cubs, and this is a guy that you're going to keep if you have him in your regular fantasy league and in DraftKings. Keep an eye on his price because he's a guy that, depending on the matchup, he'll strike out a lot of batters, there's no doubt. He's hitting 98 basically routinely, and the guy I picked, Chase Utley. He did pretty well this week. Not bad. He went 6 for 24, but 3 doubles, 3 runs batted in. Not bad. Who you got this week?
Chase Utley's taken well to the 6-hole. I have Shin-Soo Choo, who had a .096 batting average at the end of April, but he is on fire lately, leading off for the Texas Rangers, hitting .350 the last 2 weeks, and that Rangers lineup looking pretty deep now with Josh Hamilton coming back soon, Adrian Beltre finally hitting. So I'm going Shin-Soo Choo offensively, and pitching I'm going Henderson Alvarez of the Marlins. Return got rocked in his first start back, but look, this is a guy who last year, bunch of quality starts, had the ERA of 2.65, 18 quality starts, a 120 whip. I think he's going to have a good rest of the year.
Not bad. My guys, I'm going Carlos Gonzalez. He's hitting under 200 this year. The Rockies have 8 games at home this week, so this might be the week that he becomes Carlos Gonzalez of old. It's been a long time since he's done that. Just 4 home runs and 10 runs batted in so far this year, but Coors Field, that can help. And my pitcher, Jake Odorizzi, who pitches against the Braves on Wednesday, against NL teams in his career, a whip under 1. So I'm looking for big things from Jake Odorizzi because I need it, because my picks haven't been that great lately. That's it for Phillies Nation here from the Fieldhouse Sports and Beer Hall. We are presented by BQ Basement Systems. Thank you to everyone this week. For Corey, I am Pat. We will talk to you next time.